Hello, welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee and I'm so happy to have you here. Today we're going to make stuffed cabbage because I had quite a few requests when I did my veggie box and people asked to see it, so I'm going to show you how I do it real quick. I do have a long video on it too, but we'll show you today what I do. We got to get it in the oven because family's coming over, so I need to get it cooking. So here is my head of cabbage, and I have, you can hear the microwave. I have rice on cooking in my Tupperware rice cooker. So let me bring you down here. The first thing is to get the Dutch oven ready, and my mom taught me how to make, I think I got you tilted. My mom taught me how to make stuffed cabbage. It was something that I think her Aunt Iva taught her, and her mom made it too, but her Aunt Iva is really came. I have, this isn't thawed yet, but it's some tomato sauce that was left over that I froze. And I'm gonna just kind of break that up to go on the bottom of this roaster. You could just put a few spoons of tomato sauce on the bottom, but I want to use this up. And the next thing is some of the outside leaves, like not the outside, but the ones that are a little inside, but not down to the firm part. I took them off, washed them, and tore around the big stem. And I lay that down on the bottom here. And that will be the base. So it just sort of covers the bottom so that the stuffed cabbage do not stick. I'm gonna add some canned tomatoes. I'm really getting low on my tomato products. I need my tomatoes to turn red. So I'm just gonna put some on here too. There we go. I'm gonna sprinkle it with some garlic salt. I'm gonna add a little more over there. So now I'm kind of stuck to make onion that I sliced here. I lay that on top of the stuffed cabbage. And now I need to get my cabbage ready. And what I do is, where's my little knife? I take my knife, and at the core, I cut through, and I have a pot of water over here on the stove, and I am going to put this face down in that pot. And spread it out to cool it off. It is hot. It cooks really nice in the microwave in that Tupperware rice cooker though. I've had that for years. In fact, my first lid broke and they replaced it. No trouble. So that was truly awesome. Making stuffed cabbage is a little putsy, you know, but it's so good. And it isn't difficult at all. It is not difficult. And it tastes better the next day. The flavors meld more. So if I'm making it for an event, I'll sometimes make it the day ahead and then heat it up the day of. And I don't like it to be so full of just rice. I want it to have a little bit more meat than rice. I think it holds together better. Seasoning now. This is garlic salt. Quite generous. Some oregano. Some garlic, which looks like the humidity got to that a little. Some black pepper. And I'm going to get, oh, here. Need a couple of eggs. One. Two. Actually, I'm going to do at least 3. I added 4 pounds of ground beef, so my mom's formula would have me adding 1 more. So let's go with mom. Now we're gonna mix it all up, and I always just use my hands. I don't really know of any other way to get it thoroughly incorporated. You could wear gloves. I just always just wash my hands right after. And you can use a potato masher too, but this is what I have found works best and just how I was taught to do it. But I will be washing my hands with soap right after I am done getting this all mixed thoroughly. And you want the rice totally incorporated. You don't want any big clumps of the rice to, pop out. You want it an even mixture of meat and rice and spices. And then the eggs is the binder that will hold it all together. Family joined me in the kitchen and we're talking, so I will do a voiceover now. I take a long fork and I remove the loosened leaves of the cabbage. See how they are? They come right off, and I just keep trimming by the base of the stem so that they keep loosening up. And you can take a fork and they come off, they're ready to roll. So I'm just trying to get them all. Now the next step is you don't want that thick stem vein in there. Mom always took a paring knife and trimmed it even with the rest of the leaf. And then you have a nice little cup to roll up your mixture in. So I add a pretty generous size and fold in the sides and then roll over and tuck the end, and kind of like a burrito. And then I'm going to lay them on top of the sauce and cabbage leaves that are inside the roaster. But you really want to make sure that you remove that thick vein, because it will be tough and it will never soften up to where it's comfortable to eat. It's always going to be kind of chewy. So trim that down. It's just a short step, but it makes a big difference in your end product. And now it's just like an assembly line. You just keep removing the leaves, adding in the ground beef, after you trim the vein, and roll them up and put them into the roaster. You can use a 9x13. I've made these in the crock pot before. You can use whatever pan works for your family. I am going for 1 even layer this time. Sometimes I will do a double layer when I'm going to freeze meals. But today I'm going to do 1 layer, and that will give us plenty of leftovers and some for family to take home. And maybe even 1 meal in the freezer. That's my goal. So next, I'm going to add a couple more because I saw there was room for more, and I still have more meat mixture. Any meat mixture that I have, it's hot. Any meat mixture that I have, I will stuff some bell peppers that I have and put them in the freezer. Cut them in half, clean them out, put the filling in, put them in a baggie, and then put them in a freezer bag. And that's quick dinners after work. So here I go, trying to fit a couple more in there so that that bottom of that roaster is nice and packed tight. And you can even make little ones if you want, if you have like a small head of cabbage. Now I sprinkle onions on top that I had sliced. This is optional, but it's something that my mom always did, and I love the flavor of the onions. I just think it really adds to it. My mother-in-law used to put sauerkraut in hers. So there's different ways of doing it, based on where you live in the country. And I love trying all different kinds. I put the rest of the can of tomato sauce, and now I have a pint jar of home canned tomatoes. I'm down to 3 jars, so I need my tomatoes to ripen. And this was Italian seasoned, so that's going to add some more flavor too. And the home canned tomatoes just sort of dissolve right into the sauce. You can also use, store-bought diced tomatoes. I have done that in the past too if I don't have any home canned tomatoes. Now to wash my hands, I'm going to get my container of brown sugar and I will sprinkle some of that on top, about 2 spoons of brown sugar. It helps to sweeten it a little and it helps to caramelize the top. And it's not totally necessary, but something that we always do. Here is after 2 hours in the oven, and everything is tender. The cabbage is nice and soft now. There's a nice sauce at the bottom of the pan. We really enjoy these and look forward to them every year. And I'm serving them with mashed potatoes and wax beans from our garden. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time at Pike Creek Farm.